the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan. That's my name. We're in video form again because I thought, why the hell not? Put on a nice shirt, dress up. It's absolutely baking hot here today in London town. And if you see me sweating profusely throughout this episode, it's not the Shakespeare that's making me sweat. Or is it? Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe it is the Shakespeare, the Shakespearean language, and indeed the intense heat. So something to watch out for. I quite liked last week when I started off with Shakespeare news, the Shakespeare news of the week. So let's just do this. Shakespeare news into Google. What do we have here? What do we have? News. The Merry Wives of Windsor review. That's at the Shakespeare's Globe. Shakespeare's script is the weakest bit of this joyous revel. Wow, okay. That is quite brutal, isn't it? A brutal review of Shakespeare. He'll be fuming about that. Obviously, not around to read that review, of course, but you would be annoyed, wouldn't you, if you were Shakespeare? Sort of thought of to be the greatest living playwright. No, obviously not living now. Greatest ever playwright to be around ever. I think that's his official title, the greatest ever playwright to be around ever. And then someone in 2025 is slagging off your work. So that's a shame. And then we've got Back the Bard. Actor Ralph Fiennes is keeping Shakespeare on the curriculum. Oh, that's good. So he's sort of making sure that we're still learning about Shakespeare. That's good. But I think there's a right and a wrong way to learn about Shakespeare, if I'm being honest. Obviously, I learnt Shakespeare in school a little bit, but they didn't make it particularly accessible, which is what I'm doing here. Breaking it down, line by line, trying to modernise it in some way, adding a little bit of a story. If it's helpful, so be it. If it's not, what are you doing here? Right, let's take a listen to Sonnet 112, shall we? Now, before we start, a little birdie told me that Sonnet 112 is basically Sonnet 111 Part 2. So if you haven't listened to Sonnet 111, go back to that episode, have a little listen. Shakespeare talking about being famous and that. So more of the same, I imagine. Let's take a listen. Sonnet 112. Your love and pity doth the impression fill which vulgar scandal stamped upon my brow. For what care I who calls me well or ill, so you o'er green my bad, my good allow. You are my all the world, and I must strive to know my shames and praises from your tongue. None else to me, nor I to none alive. That my steeled sense or changes right or wrong, in so profound abysm I throw all care of others' voices, that my adder's sense to critic and to flatter stopped are. Mark how with my neglect I do dispense. You are strongly in my purpose bred, that all the world besides me thinks you're dead. So there we have it, Sonnet 112. And yeah, I mean, it is very similar to Sonnet 111 in many ways. And I'd say the main takeaway from this one is, yeah, he's still talking about, the public opinion of him, which was a big theme in Sonnet 111. How he was perceived by the public and how that potentially made him do bad things. Much like celebrities nowadays, they often blame some of the things they do on, the public and how hard it is to be in the public eye. And no doubt it is. No doubt it is. Interesting that was still going on, all these years ago. Shakespeare was grappling with the similar problems that, your Tom Cruises and your Brad Pitts and who else is famous? Other names, other people. Scarlett Johansson, she's still famous? Sure, why not? You know, they're all having a tough time out there, and Shakespeare can relate. The first sort of main takeaway is that he's going, you know what, I actually just need to forget about them. I need to forget about the public and not go off what they think of me. You know, not sort of go, oh, they think I'm good, they think I'm bad, they think what I've done is good, they think what I've done is bad. No. I need to go off what you, my friend / lover, what you think of me. And that's really the only thing that Shakespeare needs to go off in life. You know, that's his moral compass, which is, God, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it, on this lover of his, to go, only your opinion matters. Only you can tell me if I've done good or if I've done bad. Don't care about anyone else. You know, this lover could be a bit of a messed up kind of guy. He could be fine with murder. He could think, yeah, go on, have a little murder. That's fine. Not a problem with me. And Shakespeare would be like, great, all right, I'll do some murders. Don't know why he'd be doing murders, but maybe he sort of sees a rival playwright, decides that he wants to knock him off, and his lover says, yeah, good idea. And to Shakespeare, that's enough. Doesn't care about what anyone else thinks. So I don't know if it's the best way of going about things, but it's certainly Shakespeare's way. Let's dive into this line by line and work out what the hell Shakespeare was going on about in Sonnet 112. So, we start Sonnet 112 with, your love and pity doth the impression fill which vulgar scandal stamped upon my brow. So, here I think he's saying your love and pity then was less like, oh, I feel sorry for you, more sort of compassion. Your love and compassion make up for the emotional damage that this vulgar scandal, so that the public gossip, has marked on Shakespeare. So your love and compassion make up for all this crap that the public are saying about me. It's been tough. I've been, the Daily Mail and the Sun, they've been at me. All sorts of scandals. Shakespeare's been doing this, Shakespeare's been doing that. But thank God for you, because your love and compassion is made up for that. Doth the impression fill? I quite like that, isn't it? I think that's sort of like, casting something that fills in the impression, like a mould. I'm thinking of sort of, what do you like, the mould for a ring, something like that, and you fill that with gold. So that's all filled up. It's a nice way of putting it. Then we continue with, for what care I, who calls me well or ill? So you, o'ergreen my bad, my good allow. So why should I care about what others say about me? All right, good or bad, don't care. Why should I worry about it? As long as you... Now this is interesting. I think here he's saying, o'ergreen my bad, so long as you sort of forget or overcome my faults and only see the good in me. Which is... it's not a great thing to say to your lover, I don't think. I mean, I don't think your lover should just ignore all your faults. Maybe it's something to discuss, to talk about potentially. But here he's saying, maybe you could, and it is a question, maybe you could forget about my faults and actually, just sort of think about all the good stuff, maybe, about me. That'd be nice. Yeah, it would be nice, Shakespeare. We'd all like that from our partner. Just forget about all your wrongdoings, all your faults, and just think you're bloody amazing. It's nice, isn't it? It's a nice life. He continues with, you are my all the world, and I must strive to know my shames and praises from your tongue. So, you are my all the world, you are my everything, you are everything to me, and I must strive to learn what's good or bad about me from what you say. Again, I struggle with this. I mean, where's your own moral compass? It's quite good to have that moral compass yourself, to sort of go, oh, did what I say then, was that good? Or was I a bit rude there? It's probably quite good to clock that yourself rather than rely on your on your partner for that one. But again, you know, Shakespeare, he goes about things a bit differently to everyone else, as we've learnt from his other sonnets. None else to me, nor I to none alive. So this is a continuation. He's saying no one else matters to me, all right? And I don't mean anything to anyone else that's living. Interesting, he says to none alive. Maybe he does mean something to the dead. Don't know. That's a hot take there. That my steeled sense or changes, right or wrong, in so profound abysm I throw all care of others' voices, and that my adder's sense to critic and to flatterer stopped are. I think when I was actually reading this, I didn't say flatterer, I didn't say flatterer. I said flatter. So it is flatterer. It's a bit of a mouthful from Shakespeare there. Anyway, that's not quite one line, but it's all one thought. And here he's saying, your opinion means so much to me that it actually decides what is right or wrong for me. That's what I think that means. I mean, the jury's out. That my steeled sense or changes, right or wrong, is quite an ambiguous line, that one. And actually, having read into it a little bit, no one fully knows what that means, what he meant by that. It's quite a bizarre phrasing, that my steeled sense or changes, right or wrong. But essentially, I think that means your opinion means so much that it decides what is right or wrong for me. So similar to what he was saying before. And he's like, I don't give a shit about what others say about me. All right, not a problem for me. I throw their opinions in an abysm, a sort of bottomless pit, potentially. So I just chuck them down there, forget about them, not worried. See you later. I am deaf to others about me, all right? Flattery or criticism, as he said earlier. So it's, again, a sort of long way of saying I don't care about what anyone else thinks apart from what you think. That is the most important thing to me. Worth noting that my adder's sense, so I think that means, you know, he's deaf to. Adders, I guess, can't hear. Didn't know that. Did you know that? Did you know that adders don't have ears? Can't hear? Maybe someone should fact check that one. But I think that's what he means by that. That he can't hear what others are. Not literally. He does have his hearing at this point, but he doesn't. He's blocking that out in a sense. Mark how with my neglect I do dispense. So notice how I've stopped caring about the world neglecting me. I'm not worried about it. The world has gone, get out of here, Shakespeare. And I've gone, not a problem. Don't worry about it. I'm a chilled out guy. And now we're on to the final couplet. You are strongly in my purpose bred, that all the world besides me thinks you're dead. So you mean so much to me that you are dead to the rest of the world. So you're just mine, basically. Come here, you're just mine. Very, very intense thing to say at the end of that sonnet. To just be like, you're dead to everyone else apart from me. Imagine that. Imagine your lover telling you that. It's sort of nice and terrifying in one fell swoop, isn't it, that one? I mean, he's got away with words, that's for sure. So that is sonnet 112. It's quite an interesting one. I like its continuation on from sonnet 111. I like how he's still talking about being in the public eye and how hard that is, and how he's saying, you know what, I just need to forget about what other people say and just think about what you say. I think there's a way of adapting this now for modern celebrities, if you're listening, celebrities. Sort of, yeah, don't think about what the public say, ignore it. That's what they all say they do anyway. But it's probably quite hard to. But maybe don't rely on your lover to be your moral compass. Maybe just, you know, have some belief in yourself. And that's what I would have said to Shakespeare at the time. Don't worry about your lover. First of all, it's got to come from your heart, mate, you know? What do you think is right and wrong? What do you think is good or bad? But I guess it's a first step for Shakespeare to go, forget about the public, forget the reviews. Yes, the Hamlet reviews came out yesterday. They were terrible. Everyone hated it. And that must have been depressing for him. But don't worry, because you've always got your lover to tell you if it's good or bad. And hopefully your lover liked Hamlet. So that's that. Now, I think it's about time we put this to our story, don't you? And if you remember last week, or if you haven't been here at all until now, I make up a little story about the sonnets, and there's this long sort of wild thread that we've woven since Sonnet 1, really. And you can dive in whenever, really. But last week, Shakespeare's been seeing this fella called the Earl of Southampton. And the Earl of Southampton, yeah, they've had their ups and downs. He's recently out of prison. And Shakespeare is sort of going, I think you're the one for me. The Earl of Southampton is like, oh, you've done some bad things. You've maybe cheated on me while I was in prison, which is not okay. And he's made Shakespeare confess. And in the last episode, Shakespeare has sort of gone to say sorry to the Earl of Southampton and say, look, I messed up, because he went off to the pub, if you remember, after the confession to have a laugh with his fans. And the Earl of Southampton's fuming. He's gone home. He said, I'm sick of this, Shakespeare. Shakespeare comes home after a while, after a few pints, and says, look, listen, Earl, if that is your name, if that's your first name, listen, I'm really sorry. The public opinion of me, it changes me. It makes me a terrible person, and I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. And the Earl of Southampton says, look, I feel sorry for you. You're pathetic, man. It's a big problem. And Shakespeare said, well, look, I actually wrote a sonnet while I was away to explain everything. And the Earl of Southampton says, don't want to hear about it. Don't bother with it. And he starts making his way out the door. Shakespeare says, whoa, stop. There's actually a load of fans out there, and they sort of, they want to hear this sonnet that I've got to say as well. And the Earl of Southampton says, this is ridiculous. Why is everything so public? And he leaves the house. Shakespeare chases out after him. There's a big crowd. Earl of Southampton can hardly get through them all. And Shakespeare says, I'm going to read you Sonnet 111. And everyone is sort of stood still, and Shakespeare reads Sonnet 111 to the Earl of Southampton and his adoring fans that are all gathered in the street. So that is where we left off. Let's find out what happens next. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 111 to the Earl of Southampton. The Earl of Southampton has a tear in his eye, and he says, Shakespeare, just leave me the hell alone. Look, I know life is tough in the public eye, but I don't think we should be together anymore. It's too difficult for you. You've messed up too many times. How many times do I need to forgive you? The crowd around them are silent. They're actually loving it. It's like an episode of EastEnders. Shakespeare says, I'm sorry, Earl of Southampton. Do you have a first name, by the way? Earl of Southampton says, no, it's just Earl of Southampton. Okay, that's good to know. Well, listen, Earl of Southampton, I've said I'm sorry, and I've said, look, I'm just going to forget about the public. It's not a problem. And the Earl of Southampton, still crying, starts to run away. And he said, just leave me alone, Shakespeare. I need to be alone. And he runs and runs. Shakespeare stands watching him. His fans all cheer. They go, well, Shakespeare, that was a fantastic sonnet. Wow, Sonnet 111. What a treat to listen to. Well, when did you write that? And Shakespeare said, please just leave me alone. You guys are the bloody problem, all right? No, I'm not going to sign any more autographs. Please. Okay, all right, I'll do one or two. What's that? Oh, was that an original? Oh, it's an original 12th Night. Yeah, okay. Well, I will sign that because that's quite cool. Yeah, all right. Okay, no, what I was saying was, you're all terrible people. You make me do bad things. You're bad influences on me. Look, the love of my life has just run off down there. What am I going to do? And the fans say, Shakespeare, why are you being mean to us? We just love you. We just love your work. Shakespeare says, please, I need to get away from you all. And he starts running as well. The fans are chasing after him. Shakespeare dodges down a back alley and then another one. Slowly, he's losing them. Eventually, it's just him and one other fan. Shakespeare says, bloody hell, you're a quick runner, aren't you? And the fan says, yeah, I'm actually the fastest 100-metre sprinter in London. Shakespeare says, well, good for you, but look, I'm trying to get rid of my fans at the moment. The 100-metre sprinter says, all right, Shakespeare, but you remember that I was the last one to keep up with you, and you tell everyone that, all right? Shakespeare says, yeah, all right, okay, well done you. And the sprinter leaves. Shakespeare wanders down to the Thames. The waves are lapping against the stone. There's a quiet, a serenity. And Shakespeare looks to his left. And in a pool of light from an oil lamp, he sees the Earl of Southampton sitting on a bench alone, head in hands. Shakespeare can't believe it. They both go to the same place when they're feeling upset and they're feeling alone. He sidles up to the Earl of Southampton and says, hey. The Earl looks up at him and says, oh, Shakespeare, how did you find me? Shakespeare says, I guess it's fate. I guess we're more alike than we thought. And the Earl says, where are your fans? And Shakespeare says, forget about them. I told them to get the hell out of here. Look, I actually wrote a part 2 to Sonnet 111. But I didn't read you at the time because it sort of slagged off my fans a little bit and I didn't really want to do it in front of them, but can I read it to you now? The Earl of Southampton says, oh, fine. Just read it. Maybe it'll do some good. Shakespeare says, thank you so much. He pulls out Sonnet 112 from his back pocket and reads, Sonnet 112. Your love and compassion make up for the emotional damage that public gossip had marked on me. Why should I care about what others say about me, good or bad, as long as you forget about my faults and only see the good in me? You are everything to me, and I must strive to learn what's good or bad about me from what you say. No one else matters to me. And I mean nothing to anyone else. Your opinion means so much to me that it decides what is right or wrong. I don't give a shit about what others say about me. I throw their opinions in a bottomless pit. I am deaf to others' flattery or criticism. Notice how I've stopped caring about the world neglecting me. You mean so much to me that you're dead to the rest of the world. So there we have it, Sonnet 112 and the story to go with it. Thanks for joining me this week. Hell of a story we have going on here. Will the Earl of Southampton forgive Shakespeare? Will that sonnet win him over finally? Has Shakespeare changed his ways? Does he really not care about his fans anymore? There's a lot of questions left unanswered. We'll find out what happens next week on the final couplet. Until then, bye-bye!